Hello guys, so in the last tutorial we talked about the importance of components, and since we're talking about components, it's right time to learn how to write components in Angular. So the first thing we're going to do is to identify the components we're going to create, and in this case we're going to create a component where we are going to display a list of hotels. So the first thing we are going to do is to create a component inside of this app folder. So in the last class or in the last tutorial, we said that all the components we are going to create are going to be found in this app folder, which is the app root of our application. So the first thing we are going to do is to right click here and create a new folder. And take note, it always makes sense to give the name of the folder the same name as the component. So since we want to create an hotel component, so let us just give the name hotel and then validate. So the next thing we're going to do, so take notice, inside of this app folder you can see that it has an app.component.html, app.component.scss, app.component.typescript. So basically the three files, we are going to create three files inside of this component. So basically a component has three files. So let us go and create three components file, or the three files for this component. So the first thing we're going to do is to create a new file and give hotel.component.typescript. Let us create another file, hotel.component.html, and the next file is hotel.component.scss. So basically those are the three components we created. So the hotel.component.html, this is the template of the component where we are going to write our HTML code, and the SCSS file, this is where we are going to create or write the CSS, the styling of the component, and then the .typescript file, this is where we are going to configure or firstly create the component and configure the component, and this is where the business logic of our component is going to be written. So the next thing we're going to do is to configure this component or properly create it. And a component in TypeScript or in Angular is simply a TypeScript class. So we're simply going to export a class here by writing export class. So let us write export class and give the name of the class. So in this case, we are creating an hotel component. So we are writing hotel component. So this is the name of the class. So as you can see, we have written a class that we are exporting, and we are exporting because we want to use this component outside, or we want to use this class outside of this file. So this is the reason why we are exporting it. So the next thing to do is to attach to this class a special decorator, because we want to tell TypeScript or tell Angular that this class is not a normal class, that is something special. So that is why we are attaching a special decorator to this class. And the decorator we are going to attach to this class is a component decorator. So we are going to write it by typing @ and then component. So just like that. So as you can see here, my editor has imported this class automatically. So make sure you import this decorator. So import component from Angular core. And this Angular core actually gives us access to some more functionalities of Angular. So here we have our special component decorator. And the next thing to do is that this decorator actually takes a JavaScript object. So here we have to write our object, and inside of this we have to pass a selector, and this selector takes a string, so it's a string value. So we're going to give app hotel, and take notice we are attaching app to this hotel. So it's always a best practice to attach this app. You can give whatever name you want to this selector, because and make sure that it has to be something unique. So no matter the name you have to choose, or no matter the name you have to that you're selecting, make sure that it has to be unique. But in Angular, it's always like a best practice to attach this app to the name you are giving to your component. So this to the selector, we are giving app hotel. And the next thing we are going to add here after the selector is the template. So we are actually attaching a template URL, and this template is actually the template of our component, the template we created, which is the hotel.component.html. So we are going to attach to give the path of this template, which is dot and then hotel.component.html. So basically that is how you configure your component in Angular, by giving a selector. And as we said in the last class, this selector, once Angular sees this selector, the app hotel, so it actually makes reference to this component. So once it sees this app hotel, you automatically go in your template and display whatever you have in this template. So basically this selector is like a unique identifier of your component. So that is why it has to be really unique. So we have the selector, we have the template URL. Then it's right time to add the style sheet. So here we are going to add style, which is a style URL, and as we did for the template, you are simply going to give the path of this SCSS file, which will take an array, because in some cases you might want to pass so many style sheets here. So in our case, we are going to pass an array and then simply put the path of the SCSS file, which is the hotel.component.scss. So simply like that. So guys, basically that is how you configure your component, by firstly attaching the component decorator to this class, just to make sure that this class is something special. And don't forget to export your class so that it can be used, it can be imported outside of this file, because to basically to use these components, we are going to register, as we said in the last class, we are going to register this component in the app module. So this app module, we are going to register this component in this app module. So in the next class, we are going to see what is the importance of this app module and how we are going to register our component in this app module. So thank you for this class, and we are going to meet in the next class. Goodbye.